It was a quiet morning at Windsor Castle, just like any other day. A gentle breeze blew through the trees as tourists from all over gathered to witness one of the most solemn ceremonies of the United Kingdom, the changing of the guard. Everything proceeded as usual, just as expected, and no one could have anticipated the tension and drama that was about to unfold. James Mitchell, the Royal Guard, stood firm in his position. He wore the traditional red uniform, with every detail meticulously prepared, from the gleaming brass buttons to the sharp creases of his uniform. His cold, unwavering gaze betrayed no signs of fatigue or concern. He had become accustomed to standing still for hours, eyes fixed forward, with no hint of wavering. In fact, maintaining his position through years of service was a key part of his training. However, today was different. A strange noise came from the distance, the sound of a motorcycle approaching. This was not the typical hum of a tourist rental, but the roar of a heavily modified machine, the sound cutting through the peaceful atmosphere like a sharp blade. Mitchell kept his posture intact, his eyes not shifting from their forward position. But beneath the calm exterior, he could sense a noticeable shift in the air. It was a sign of danger. The black motorcycle neared, cutting through the crowd of tourists, and stopped right beside Mitchell. From the bike stepped a tall man dressed in dark leather, adorned with strange symbols stitched onto his jacket. People around began to turn, sensing the rising tension in the air. The excited anticipation of the tourists quickly shifted to unease, and silence spread across the area. The biker dismounted the motorcycle with a confrontational attitude. His body seemed to burst out of his leather outfit, with metal rings and tattoos decorating his skin, hiding none of the brutality within him. A mocking smile crept onto his lips as he walked toward Mitchell, his eyes filled with contempt. "What are you staring at, soldier? Who do you think you are, standing there like a statue?" His voice dripped with hostility. Mitchell remained silent. His gaze stayed fixed on the horizon. The biker's taunts did not faze him. He knew that patience was true strength. He had learned long ago that silence in tense situations could unsettle the opponent more than any strong reaction. "Nothing to say?" The biker continued to provoke, circling Mitchell, his eyes full of disdain. Mitchell stood firm. The biker continued his insults, laughing loudly at the guard's stillness. Every word seemed like an arrow aimed at Mitchell's pride. "This is a joke. All of you, living in this system, are weak, always hiding behind these meaningless rules. But I live freely, without following anyone," the biker sneered. He stood directly in front of Mitchell, his defiant gaze becoming even clearer in the sunlight. "These rules, these ceremonies, they just make you puppets. Look at yourself." At this moment, the tourists around began to grow more anxious. Some started pulling their children closer, as if they sensed the tension in the air. But Mitchell remained silent. He didn't let the words of this man distract him. Every movement of the biker was carefully observed, and every provocation only confirmed that this was a dangerous situation. The biker's insults didn't stop, and as he realized that Mitchell wasn't reacting, his anger grew. His provocations became stronger, and his eyes now burned with hatred. He stepped closer, his face twisted in mockery, and with just a few more steps, he believed he could claim victory. "All these rules, all this nonsense, hiding behind this shield of discipline," he yelled. "What have you done except stand there, doing this menial job? You simple guards, just standing still and watching the world through a foggy window." The biker moved closer, his hands raised, preparing to deliver a powerful shove that he was sure would make Mitchell fall. This confrontation felt like a gamble, where the biker believed he had already defeated a mere royal guard. But Mitchell didn't respond the way the biker expected. With a swift motion, the biker lunged, his hands extending like iron pincers aimed directly at Mitchell's chest. The guard didn't dodge. Instead, he allowed the impact, and the biker believed he had succeeded in pushing Mitchell back, thinking he would prove that his strength was unbeatable. But then, everything happened too quickly. Mitchell didn't retreat. With a small, perfectly calculated movement, the shove didn't knock him down. Instead, his foot slid slightly on the stone, and in that brief moment, the silence broke and was replaced with the tense energy of a real battle. Unlike others, Mitchell didn't let emotions dictate his actions. "This is no joke," Mitchell whispered. In an instant, Mitchell turned the tables. He swiftly transitioned from his standing position into a combat-ready stance. As the biker stood there, still uncertain, Mitchell launched himself into a perfect spin. His entire body extended, and with a powerful hip throw, the biker was launched into the air. The biker's arrogance was shattered in that single moment. The biker had no time to comprehend what was happening before his body crashed onto the stone floor with a thundering sound that seemed to shake the very surroundings. He lay there, stunned and in pain, unable to understand that his own arrogance had led to his downfall. This is the greatest lesson from this story. Strength is not always measured by muscle or violence. Indeed, the biker may have been large, powerful, and seemingly unbeatable, but Mitchell proved something more important than anything else. True strength comes from discipline and control. Mitchell did not react hastily, nor with brutality. He didn't attack the biker out of momentary anger. Instead, he acted with precision and tactical strategy. That's the difference between a fiery confrontation and a true battle. Discipline saved Mitchell, and it helped him maintain a cool head in every situation. When the biker attacked, Mitchell didn't panic. He knew that life in the military had trained him to remain sharp in the most tense of moments. The perfect hip throw demonstrated the difference between violent strength and tactical strength. This is an important lesson for all of us. Never let hostility or emotions overtake our decisions in a confrontation. The calmer you are, the greater the chance of victory. A situation I experienced at work comes to mind that mirrors this story. I remember one morning, in a tense meeting, a colleague repeatedly attacked my approach to a project I was leading. He argued that my method was too rigid and would never succeed. I didn't react immediately, but just listened. I realized that if I let my anger take over, I would only make the situation worse. Instead, I focused on explaining why my project had the potential to succeed, using data and research I had prepared. In the end, not only he, but the whole team had to acknowledge that I was on the right track. I won not by raising my voice or being violent, but by staying calm, showing respect for everyone, and trusting in my work. Like Mitchell, when faced with a challenge, we don't need to act violently or get angry. We just need to trust in our preparation and strategy, and victory will come. The truth is, strength is not always easily recognizable. Those who do not understand it will always think that muscle is the only way to win. But in reality, true strength comes from controlling emotions, discipline, and knowing when and where to use your power. Mitchell and the biker's story is a clear illustration of this. One side represented blind strength and the arrogance of someone who had no understanding of real combat, while the other was a calm, meticulously prepared individual with absolute discipline. If you are someone who always wants to showcase your strength by drawing attention, this story shows that restraint is the key factor. True strength doesn't need to be shouted or screamed. It is demonstrated through precise actions, calculation, calmness, and patience. When faced with challenges in life, we will have two choices: to show our strength by yelling and creating conflict, or to stay calm, react appropriately, and let discipline lead the way. And in that crucial moment, we will realize that true strength is not something easily gained. It is the result of years of training, discipline, and self-confidence. So, the next time you face a challenge, remember that true strength does not come from what you do in anger, but from the calmness and preparation you have throughout your journey.